Reason why this market has gone really, really boring is a lot of people taking the P, right? Taking the profit. And, you know, when obviously you have a certain segment of folks that take the profit, it's going to put selling pressure on the market. And so, you know, you're always going to have buying pressure in the market, right? People are buying in their retirement accounts and, you know, index fund buying and folks like myself that are buying individual stocks every week. So you're always going to have a certain amount of buying out there. But when you have a lot of people deciding to take the P at a given moment, it's going to zap momentum out of the market, right? And, you know, listen, we've had an extraordinary year, right? Even after this most recent drop in the Qs, we're still up 36+% year to date. For the NASDAQ, right? For the Qs, that is specifically, right? It's extraordinary. Look at a portfolio like mine. Like the public count entered this year around $1 million. As of right now, it's 1.7 million plus, right? It's not where it was at the peak, which was back in, I think, early July. We're at 1.8, right? But, you know, when you have a move like that, a lot of people say, let me just go ahead. Let me take some profits here. You know, let me cash out some. And, you know, you got to understand it because, one, the move's been extraordinary, right? And a lot of stocks have moved massive, and not everybody's like, I'm going to buy Tesla stock and hold it for the next 5 years. I'm going to buy Meta stock and hold it for the next 5 years. Not everybody thinks like that, right? Not everybody's a long-term investor. You got to understand, a lot of people in the stock market are not long-term investors. They're trying to, you know, make money short term and, you know, do these sorts of things. And that's their own agenda and that's their own thing. Like they can do whatever they want, right? They play their game. I'll play my game, right? I'm going after the loaves of bread. I don't want to go after the breadcrumbs. But when a lot of people get a lot of breadcrumbs, a lot of people are going to eat those breadcrumbs up, okay? And so that's just something you have to understand that's going on out there in the market, right? And not only are people looking at the performance and saying, you know, let me take some profit, but then they're saying, well, I can also put this money in places to generate myself some pretty dang easy money, right? SoFi right now, you can get like 4.5% on a savings account through SoFi, right? You know, you look at like Ally Bank. Ally Bank has a high yield CD right now that, you know, for 9 months, as long as you keep it locked up there for 9 months, you get 5% on your money. A lot of people say, that's, you know, pretty good. 5% if you're held it for a year. Obviously, if it's only for 9 months, you'll get a little less than that, right? Even they got a no penalty CD, right? So you can pull it out at any time and you get 4.55% a rate on that, right? And so a lot of people say, well, I could take this nice profits I have here and then put that money where I can get 4 or 5%, basically guaranteed money. Yeah. And let me just watch and kind of see how this show plays out, right? Some people will say, you know, I'd rather sell NVIDIA at 450, put it into a CD or a savings account right now, right? And, you know, wait and see how things play out. And so if I miss a move to 550, it is what it is. But I don't want to go from 450 to 350. And so that's the way some investors think, right? And you obviously look at treasuries. I mean, treasuries are yielding insane right now, right? On a 3-month, 5.42% for a government treasury. A 6-month, 5.47%, a 12-month, 5.34%. I mean, you know, you could make really, really, really good money just holding a treasury right now, right? So that's going on. So you got to definitely have patience with Art Cash, and if you've been in the market this long, yeah, you're not going to speak as fast and those sorts of things. So basically, he's watching the bond market obviously significantly. And especially because of what the government's kind of up to in relation to that, right? And he's also watching some of these technicals on the markets in general, right? More of the stock market and the S&P 500. And basically his view is this is a very critical next, let's call it few trading days here that are going to ultimately set the market up for the next probably several months, okay? My personal opinions may be a little different. I actually think the market, I'm not saying what he says is saying it doesn't matter. It's just, in my opinion, everybody's really waiting on NVIDIA. It's been obviously the most important stock in the stock market this year, right? Everybody's waiting on NVIDIA's earnings, which are coming in about a week and a half from now, to get us some sort of confirmation about, is this AI thing actually real? Are you guys coming through with the numbers, which is a 1-2 quarter thing, and then it's done? Is it sustainable? I think that's what everybody's actually waiting on, is these NVIDIA earnings in a week and a half from now and what actually goes on and transpires there. The bond market is extremely influential in what happens with the stock market. And you could say even vice versa a little bit. But, you know, certain things can happen in the bond market and that can shake up the stock market in quite a significant way. And so I know a lot of times, you know, especially newer investors in the market, they like to think like the stock market's just its own thing, running its own race, doing its own thing, when actually a lot of the moves in the stock market can be dictated from what is actually transpiring in the bond market at a particular time. So that is just something I think that's important that we kind of state out there. Are you buying the dip? Are you buying Palantir? Obviously, we're way past the 3 trading days after, as they say, right? If a company reports earnings in the stock tanks, wait 3 trading days. We're past that now at this point in time. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're going to be out there buying Palantir stock this week, if you think it's a great value for the long term, if you're holding off on buying Palantir until next quarter or next year, something like that, I'd love to hear your guys' perspective on kind of what you're up to in regards to good old PLTR in this video here today. Now, guess what? I actually bought some Palantir on Friday. So I did buy some shares in the Patreon portfolio. And if you haven't joined in there and you like to see the moves I'm making in the market, on Friday I bought Palantir, I bought some other stocks. I also did some hedges in my Patreon portfolio. So if you want to keep track of the moves I'm up to in the market in my Patreon portfolio, and check out the pinned comment down there, that'll be for access. And it's $19. You get to see access to the moves I'm making. Plus, you obviously get to be part of that Discord chat over there as well. I also have another tier that includes a course in it as well. So if you want to learn deeper, there's certainly that opportunity for you as well. That will be pinned comment down there for access to that. Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and jump into this, okay? Now, first place I want to start is right here, okay? Palantir demonstrated impressive capital management by generating robust interest income through the elevated interest rate environment, okay? Now, first off, this is very important. I don't think anybody is talking about this, and they should be talking about this because this matters significantly, okay? Listen, Palantir, if they want to start earning a lot more in interest income, they have that capability. Keep in mind, they have significant portion of money of their current assets just kind of sitting around, not really generating them any sort of return right now. They could easily flip another $1 billion+ over to generate a bunch more interest income if they chose to do so. So do keep that in mind, that if they want to, they could earn more moving forward. Now, on top of that, if the Fed raises rates anymore, something like that, that could obviously even boost up their interest income even in a bigger way, okay? So keep in mind, they're not even maxed out in terms of what their capabilities are. If they wanted to earn, tens of millions of dollars more in interest income, they could easily do that, okay? Now, Palantir's AI investment thesis remains robust. We previously covered Palantir Technologies in May of 2023, discussing its exciting forward prospects due to the optimistic launch of its controversial AI tool. I don't know if it's that controversial, right? As far as Alex Karp, he recognized the functional use case of AI in the defense and intelligence sector, as discussed in the New York Times article, our Oppenheimer moment, which was written very recently. That definitely made a lot of waves in regards to that New York Times article, right? For now, Palantir has achieved another quarter of positive profit margins, sustaining the trend from previous quarter in nearer to the management's target of fiscal year 2023 to be a first full year of GAAP profitability. Things are looking pretty good there, right? If we are able to break down its performance from a the most recent quarter they just reported, okay, the second quarter of 2023, the company generates an impressive $10 million in operating income and $30 million in interest income. Now, obviously, they have a long way to go in terms of operating income. That should skyrocket over this next 36 months in a substantial way. And in terms of interest income, like I spoke about before, they're not even maxed out on what they could be earning for interest income. If they want to bump this up to 40, 50 million, they could easily actually pull that off. It's not hard for them at all. They just need to move more money over there. Compared to the quarters, basically the fiscal first quarter of 2023, right, which they had 4 million and 20 million, right? So both these are on the upward trend and should continue to, obviously, in a substantial way as the remainder of this year and then especially going into future years, right? And obviously, that's a massive improvement from where they were at this time last year. I mean, it's like a night and day difference with this business model, right?